Hi guys, today I'm going to be doing a Q&A. This is my first video on this account and I'm really excited. I really hope that it helps some of you guys. I went through my Instagram DMs and I've kind of made a list and I've made some bullet points underneath each topic of questions I get asked a lot about recovery, and I also got some of you guys to ask me questions that you specifically wanted me to answer in this video. So yeah, I really hope that this helps you, and let me know below or on my Instagram DMs if I didn't answer your question, or if there's any more questions you want me to answer, or if you've just got some video ideas or requests that you think I should do. So the first thing I get asked a lot is just recovery advice in general, and this is kind of a tricky one because obviously everyone's eating disorder story is so different, and the thing that made it easy for me to recover, the thing that kind of pushed me to really want to recover for good, because I was like recovering then not, and then recovering and then not, was just the fact that it got to the point where I wasn't in control. I wanted to eat but I couldn't. So I can't speak for other people, I can't speak for every single individual, because obviously they won't be at that stage, because that's just what happened to me. That's not what's going to happen to everyone with anorexia. And I was quite lucky in the sense that the day I was diagnosed was the day I started to recover, and I haven't really had a proper relapse since, and that was 8 months ago, and that's I know that's quite, I don't know if that's rare. I think a lot of people do have a day where they decide that they really want to recover and they kind of go from there. But yeah, I would just say keep giving it a go, and if you have little slip-ups, that's absolutely normal. Like I said, I mean, it was only a few weeks ago that I was finding it harder than usual to eat. I was eating a normal amount just because of the stage in recovery that I've got to. I'm not going to starve anymore just because I know for a fact that it doesn't get me anywhere. But yeah, I mean, I'm 8 months into recovery and I had a tiny little relapse, and then I had one a few months in. I mean, I know I'm still pretty it hasn't even been a year, but yeah, it just goes to show that they're really normal, and honestly, just don't worry, don't beat yourself up about it. And I feel like there is a point, it's not necessarily the time that you decide you want to recover for good, but once you've got a taste for proper recovery, you will kind of realise you'll get out of the mental habit, because an eating disorder is a mental disorder, and you will get out of the mental habit of wanting to, I don't know whether you have bulimia or anorexia or EDNOS or anything, you get out of that mental habit and you'll realise that it's never going to get you anywhere. And I think that's kind of what it was for me. I was kind of just up and down for years. So yeah, I just chose recovery because I was just sick of not being in control. And you know, and it's really upsetting when you see other people eating normally, people that have no form of disordered eating at all, and you kind of watch them and you're like, I'm exactly the same as you, just my thoughts are slightly different, which means that I find eating a little bit more challenging. And there's not something actually wrong with you, it's kind of all in your head, which if you're still really suffering with an eating disorder, can sound really patronising. And I can imagine that if I was still suffering with that, I'd be really defensive if I heard that. I'd be like, oh well, it's not in my head, it's a real thing, I am struggling with it. But yes, it's all in your head, but that doesn't mean that it's less of a real thing. I mean, it's a real thing, it's just in your head. I don't know if that makes any sense. But yeah, honestly, just keep trying and definitely get professional help. I know sometimes you've really got to push, especially if you don't have a diagnosis, or if it's bulimia. I know a lot of bulimics really suffer with not getting the right help just because they don't lose weight. And I think the medical system has a long way to go. If they can't see what's wrong with you, they don't necessarily, it feels like they don't care. That's definitely been the case with me as well. I know a lot of people struggle with that. But yeah, just keep pushing it, and if you really can't get medical help, then get your family to help you and your friends, or just whoever is closest to you, because it really helped for me the first few months of recovery. If I was having a bad day, just to get my mum or my dad to kind of push me and say, look, have you had lunch or something like that. Just little things like that really help. And they sound really tedious, but yeah, they really do help. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it's like a mental habit, and once you get a taste for being out of that mental habit, you realise that it's so not worth it, and that you're just gonna waste your life on something that you don't need to live with, something that you can escape. And just take it day by day without saying, don't set yourself a goal saying oh, all year I'm not going to restrict or I'm not going to binge, because that's unrealistic and it's just going to make it even harder. And just take it day by day and go easy on yourself. Like, there will be a day where, I don't know, like you might be 6 months into recovery and then suddenly you find it really hard to have lunch for a while, or you know, you find sugar really hard, or fat, or carbs, or like, it's going to be different with everyone, but you are going to like run into like obstacles. And just don't beat yourself up about it. Think about what you are doing rather than like what you're finding hard. Another thing I get asked about quite a lot, because I feel like, especially with this like little community that we have on Instagram, a lot of people talk about their experience with CAMHS, and someone asked me on my Instagram what my experience with CAMHS was like. And I know lots of people make separate videos on this, but I didn't want to do that just because I haven't had a good or a bad experience with them. Like, I mean, I've had a good experience, I haven't had a great experience, or I haven't had an awful experience. And I also don't want to brainwash people by talking about my experience, because everyone's can be different, and I don't want them to hear mine or hear like one little negative thing that I have to say and then think that CAMHS is awful, or expect CAMHS, because it helped me, to make them completely better. Like, it is, I mean, it's there to help people, and I would kind of be surprised if it didn't help anyone ever. But I think like there was this one lady that I saw that I was referred to by the hospital, and obviously I didn't want to be there. I kind of didn't really feel like I needed their help, and it wasn't anything to do with my eating, but I was saying like, look, I don't mean to be rude, I don't think I need help with this, but I really need help with my eating, can you help me? And I literally had to like push and push and push for her to get me to help with my eating. And like I said, I didn't have a bad experience with CAMHS, but that's probably the only experience or the only time that they've let me down. I feel like that's not so much a problem that CAMHS have though, it's a problem that like the whole medical services have. She did help me eventually, but I could definitely tell that it was very half-hearted, like the help she was giving me. She was just reading from a sheet, like from a meal plan, and I was like, I can tell you don't think I need this help. And yeah, I didn't see her for long because I ended up leaving. I think that's the only time that I've actually left CAMHS myself. But I mean, I didn't hate her, she was a nice lady, but like I said, it's just I really had to push her to help me with my eating. But I mean, it was so unhelpful, I can't even remember like what we spoke about. But then the last person I saw, I think I've seen 4 people in CAMHS altogether. I've been going to CAMHS on and off since I was 10, so for about like 8-9 years. So 2 of the people that I've seen from CAMHS I've got on with really, really well, and that's like really important. You know, you kind of need that chemistry if you're gonna talk to someone about such personal things, and if you're gonna trust them enough to want help from them. I mean, the first person I saw when I was quite young, but the person that I've just finished seeing the beginning of this year, she was the one that referred me to the eating disorder service, and she was really helpful. I feel like it was because of the age that I was, like, I mean, I was 17 when I was seeing her, that, you know, I was at the age where I wanted to help myself, and she helped me with my anxiety, and that was something that I was really passionate about getting help with and sorting out. So I feel like it was a two-way thing, whereas especially when I was like 10, 11, 12, 13 and going to CAMHS, I kind of feel like I was just listening to this person trying to help me. I wasn't like helping myself, or I wasn't kind of communicating back with them. I was kind of just answering questions and not really absorbing what they were saying. Whereas with this last person that I saw, it was definitely a lot different. Like, they really, really helped me, you know, in a sense that I wanted to help myself, like I said, so yeah, it definitely makes a difference. I honestly think it's just the person you get, you know, the age you are, the situation. You know, maybe you haven't ever spoke to someone about this before and you're finding it a bit hard to open up. Just give it time, I would say. Even if you can't get into CAMHS, try speaking to a friend. Sometimes just speaking about what you're going through helps. But yeah, so not like awful experiences at CAMHS, but sometimes it's been more helpful than others. Another thing I get asked quite a lot, especially because there's a lot of girls in this like Instagram community that we have, is I haven't got my period back. Like, it's been like a year, it's been 6 months, it's been 2 years. Like, what's your experience? Do you know how long it will take? And I don't actually know how long it will take. I do know for a fact that it's very different. Like, it depends what you've been through. I would say that if you are worried, go to your doctor, but I can't speak from personal experience because for like an unknown reason, which is unrelated to my eating disorder, I've never had regular periods my whole life. I think that my periods briefly did stop, but a few months after I was weight restored, my periods came back. So yeah, it only took 2 or 3 months for me. Oh, I mean, I could be wrong. I could have been having periods when I was really low. I just kind of didn't really notice because, like, I don't have normal periods. But yeah, if you are really worried, then just go to a doctor. But like I said, I wouldn't worry too much even if it's been like 6 months or a year, because periods are kind of like the last thing that your body's worrying about. Like, you only have periods when your body thinks that it can look after another child as well as yourself. And if you're recovering from a disorder that's as hard on your body as an eating disorder, then I'm not surprised that your body's kind of like, oh, I couldn't really or I'm not gonna like worry about having a baby right now, I need to like get back on track. Yeah, while it sounds like kind of a weird thing because periods are so normal and everyone has them, it's probably not the it's probably not like on your body's radar of things that, like, you know, really needs to happen instantly. Another thing that I quite like getting asked this question because I feel like I'm quite knowledgeable on this because I had a really good dietitian in my eating disorder service team that I saw. But yeah, she was really helpful, and this was a question that I asked her, but it's I've been eating loads in recovery, why am I not putting on weight? And I mean, obviously I'm not a professional, I'm just going by what like I've been through and what my dietitian has told me in the past. It's kind of a weird thing to get your head around, and I want to like say it right in a way that makes sense. But basically, if you're at a low weight and you're trying to gain weight in your eating disorder recovery, then the main reason why you can't put on weight straight away is because the reason why you've lost so much weight is that your body has no reserves. Like, you lose weight when your body has no reserves, and then it starts eating the fat that you have, or, you know, if you've already lost fat, like in my case, it starts eating muscle. And the reason you're not putting on weight is because as soon as you put something into your body and you don't have any reserves, it doesn't get put to the side because it's completely empty, like it hasn't even been living off reserves. It will go straight into being used as energy, and then that's why I would also get really, really tired after eating a big meal, because that meal would be used as energy straight away, and then you'd go back to having absolutely nothing, and that's when like you'd go really tired. And that's also why you either lose weight or you don't put on weight. What you basically need to keep doing, and what I did, is just like keep upping your portions really gradually. I mean, I went straight into eating like at least 1,000 calories a day, but obviously if you can't do that, if you find that a bit difficult, then, you know, you don't have to do that. Just kind of up it gradually and make sure that you're eating enough, that you're not feeling shaky or you're not losing weight. Obviously, I can't tell you what you need to be eating because, like, I don't know you and I'm not a dietitian, like I said. But I would just speak to your dietitian or to a doctor. If you're really struggling, like you keep losing weight and you have no idea why, then obviously it might be for a different reason. I don't really know what the other reasons are. I'm just pretty sure that this is like the most common reason why people are losing a little bit and failing to put on weight or finding it really difficult to put on weight. So yeah, eating every time that you're hungry, and also eating when you're not hungry, because if you're only eating when you're hungry, then you're only ever going to maintain, you're not going to put on weight. And that's definitely something that's difficult because it kind of goes against your eating disorder. Like, maybe you don't feel, I know definitely with me, maybe you won't feel guilty eating if you're hungry because you know that you need to eat when you're hungry because your body needs food and you're trying to recover and you're trying to put on weight.
I feel like I'm talking really fast. And breathe.
But yeah, eating when you're not hungry is quite difficult for someone that's recovering from an eating disorder because it's basically going against all that you've like stood for ages when you were going through this eating disorder. How did you deal with weight gain? Straight away when I'd started putting on a few pounds, I wasn't feeling too bad about it because, like, funnily enough, I was actually feeling better. Like, I'd started getting a bit of energy back, and, you know, I could go out with my mum for more than an hour without, like, wanting to collapse. But after a while, and I definitely think it's when you put your guard down a bit and you're like, right, I'm okay, I'm just going to put on a little bit. And I remember I went once and I asked them if I could turn the other way because I was like, I've been eating like 1,000 calories for like a month now. I know I've probably put on a stone in a week. Please can I turn the other way because I'm okay with knowing that I've put on like a stone in a week, but I don't want to you know, see the numbers because that might really upset me and I don't want to get triggered back into a relapse. Like, you can never put on like a stone in a week. That's very difficult, like for someone that's recovering, especially if you went to a weight that was lower than your healthy weight. So yeah, and she actually ended up telling me my weight because she knew that it wouldn't upset me. I literally only put on like a few pounds, but because I put my guard down, I thought that I was okay with putting on weight. When I felt a bit wobbly about putting on weight, I felt really guilty, and I was like, you know, and then you kind of feel like you're relapsing. I think it's because we're in recovery, but we think that it goes like, oh, tomorrow will be better than today, and the day after tomorrow will be better than tomorrow, and like so on. But that's not the case. Like, you might have a day, you know, that's so much worse than like this time a week ago or even a month ago. And just knowing that, like, it's okay. I don't know, I feel like I've massively gone off topic here. That was kind of really the only time that I felt bad about putting on weight, and I felt more bad about the fact that I was upset that I was putting on weight rather than actually being upset about the actual weight gain. And don't think of it in a sense that like you've put on like a stone in a month. Think of it more, you've put on like 3 pounds every week. And it won't sound as scary that way. I know I wasn't looking at how much weight I'd gained in total until about 2 months later, and then it hit me that I'd put on like a stone in 2 months, and I was like, oh my god, that's like so bad. I know I'm supposed to be putting on weight, but I still feel guilty. Like, you're not gonna be, especially because you're at the beginning of your physical recovery and most likely your mental recovery too, you're not gonna be like 100% with putting on the weight. You know, it's just the nature of your eating disorder. You probably haven't got completely rid of it. Like, I'd be surprised if you had in 2 months. So yeah, just don't worry about it, and if you do worry about it, don't be like me and worry that you're worrying about it. It's just normal, and if you are worried about it, then like mention it to your team or whoever you're seeing, or your doctor or nurses, or even family and friends, and just be like, oh, I'm feeling a bit fragile, I might find this week a bit difficult because, I don't know, like, I looked at the scales and I know how much weight I've put on at the doctor's, and yeah, I mean, you might find that that has an effect on what you eat as well, and that's just completely normal. As long as you do take it day by day, you know, you make sure that you are maintaining at the least. Last question. Why did you choose recovery? I've kind of already touched on this in my, which question was it? In the recovery advice. Like I mentioned, you know, I'd kind of lost control to the point where I wanted to eat but I couldn't. And that was really hard because, and I knew that I wanted to become very slim to the point where I did have a diagnosis, but I didn't want to become ill. And they're like two very different things. It kind of seems a bit silly, I think, especially if you don't understand eating disorders. You might be a bit like, oh, well, what did you expect? But no one ever asks to be like ill. Like, we might want to lose weight, but we don't actually want the eating disorder part. We just want to be small. But unfortunately, you know, like, wanting to be small is an eating disorder. And, you know, when you watch it happen to other people, it's kind of like, oh, that's really sad. I bet they, you know, feel really bad and, like, feel really out of sorts. But then when it actually happens to you, it's kind of a shock. It's like, for so long, you're trying to lose weight. And when you actually get there, it's like, half of it's like, oh my god, I didn't think I could do this. Like, I'm just speaking from the point of view of someone who has, like, lost a lot of weight. Like, you might have a different eating disorder, maybe you've put on weight or you haven't really changed. But yeah, for me it was definitely like the half of me that was like, I can't believe I've got this ill, was definitely a lot louder than the half of me that's like, I can't believe I've got this small. Because when you have an eating disorder, you don't feel like you need to praise yourself. Like, you feel, it's not a case of like, oh my god, I'm at this weight. Like, yay me, it's, oh, I'm at this weight, but I'm not at this weight, I need to be even smaller. Like, you're never going to be small enough, and that's something that's so true for like so many people with eating disorders, and that's why so many people recover. And it was definitely another reason why I wanted to recover, was because you realise like you're never going to be small enough, no matter how small you are. And that's really like, really upsetting and really like depressing to think about, the fact that I wasted like 2.5 years of my life. And yeah, it doesn't benefit you, and it definitely doesn't benefit your family and your friends and the people around you who care about you as well. So yeah, they were the two main reasons for me. Definitely like realising I'd gotten way more sick than I ever wanted to, and also that I was going to be stuck in this vicious circle if I didn't like get my shit together and recover. So there are a few questions that I was asked or have been asked in the past. I really hope that this video helped you somehow. Like I said, if I didn't answer your question, or if you have other video ideas or questions that you want me to answer below or in my Instagram DMs, then let me know.
And thank you so much for watching.
And thank you so much for watching. Today I'm actually filming a kind of like a mini vlog, but like I'm not going to call it what I eat in a day, because obviously it's different every day. But yeah, I'm filming a like what I ate today vlog, so that will be up soon. So yeah, I will see you in that video hopefully. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked this video and you want to see more. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye!